Two companies went all in on AI agents. One fired 22% of its staff, the other didn't lay off a single person. What happened next is the most important case study in the AI org design you'll see this year. The first company is ClickUp. CEO Zeb Evans announced a 22% layoff and deployed 3,000 agents. That's 3 agents for every one single human being. And then he introduced a multi-million-dollar salary role that didn't even exist 6 months back. The second company is ServiceNow, a 30,000 person enterprise software company quietly published the result of running AI agent on itself. They automated 90% of IT tickets, they cut finance query times from 4 days to 8 seconds, and they saved $500 million. And they achieved all this while redeploying 85% of the affected IT staff. Not laid off, redeployed. But the real story is that both of these companies, one startup, one enterprise, independently hit the same bottleneck. Inside ClickUp, AI agents spread across every single department fast. Even said the shift was jarring. Employees went from doing work to directing agents and just reviewing the output. But as agents multiplied, a new problem emerged. Nobody was tracking what was running. Nobody knew what agents were costing, and nobody knew which agents could do what. So Evans created 3 new roles. First is the system manager. This role architects the entire agent ecosystem. They decide which agents do what work, they track cost, they basically own the whole agent org chart. Second is the builders. They write code, but not the old way. They direct agents to write code, then review and approve the output. The skill is judgment, not typing. And the third is frontliners, customer-facing roles. Sales, support, relationships, even say this is one of the most important area that you should never try to automate. Because in a world saturated with AI communication, genuine human connection is the premium. Now let's walk across the street to the other company, ServiceNow. ServiceNow had the exact same problem at 30 times the scale. Teams across the business were building agents independently, creating duplicates, running up token cost, opening security exposures. So they built an internal tool and called it the AI Control Tower. And this control tower has 5 layers: discover, observe, govern, secure, and measure AI agents. Later it became a customer product, but it started with an internal emergency. So 2 very different approaches for the same kind of problem of AI agent sprawl. ClickUp created a human role to govern agents, and ServiceNow created a software layer. And here's the part that matters most for the founders. Both are right. Because the constraint isn't how many agents you can build, it's how many you can manage. So let's talk about the divergence in these 2 approaches, because this is where the framework gets really useful. And the real difference is the growth rate. If you look at ServiceNow, they went from 14,000 employees to 30,000 employees over the last few years. They had the room to absorb this talent into new roles like SecOps, AI Ops, executive briefing centers, etc. Their chief people officer, Jackie Kenny, ran a structured skills mapping program, not a performance review, actual capability assessment, and moved people into higher value work. ClickUp isn't growing at that rate, and they didn't have the headroom to absorb 300 displaced people into new roles. So they had to cut and bet the company on a new org design itself. And that's the honest version of redeployment story. If you're growing, you can redeploy. If you're not, it's delayed layoffs. Which brings us to the structure itself, because not every company is building towards the same shape. In fact, Jackie Kenny described 3 org chart shapes for the AI era. The first is the pyramid. Broad entry-level base and narrow on top. This is the traditional company. AI agents eat the bottom layers. Second is the hourglass. Larger leadership layer, large individual contributor, but a very thin middle management. This is what AI native companies are drifting towards where the middle managers get compressed because agents coordinate directly. And the third is the diamond, concentrated strategic core, very few entry level roles. AI handles everything routine. Humans do the work that requires judgment. And for a founder, where you deploy AI determines what shape your company becomes. Most founders are running the default pyramid and hoping it becomes more efficient. And they haven't asked the question what they're trying to become. So, what's the grand takeaway here? I think a few things. First is that both companies discovered that agents proliferate faster than governance, so both created a mechanism to close that gap. Second is the ClickUp role architecture: builder, system manager, and frontliner. You should steal that framework today on how to think about individual roles. Third is the ServiceNow governance architecture: the 5-layer control tower and the 3 org shapes. That framework is the zoomed out version of you should think about when you are thinking about different teams around the AI agents. But I believe the most important takeaway is that if you're deploying AI agents in your startup right now, whether you have 10 agents or 10,000 agents, you will hit this wall of AI agent sprawl. Not if, just when. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.